So, where do I begin?
3 women have been killed in a similar fashion in a span of 1 week in Mawanga area, Bahati constituency in Nakuru County.
Operation has been launched to deal with the gang of criminals identified as confirmed.
Police there have arrested the chief suspect in the Mawanga murders. Evans Kebwaro was arrested this morning in Kisii County alongside 5 other suspects.
Maybe I should have issued a disclaimer before we started. First of all, I like this.
A few moments later.
I need to remove these specs. They were cool when they're my mom's, so they were cool when when they were not making my eyes weird. You know, I remember that video sparked a lot in me. It even made me go to the Meru prisons, Meru police station, and the mental health facility in the Meru General Hospital. But what did I get? You know, in Meru, there are not very many serial killers. The cases that are brought in here, they are not that very much. They are just normal cases. You know, we do not deal with that stuff. Just go to the Meru prisons. There you can get a criminologist, and then the criminologist can help you. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating on the accent. You cannot record me on camera. I am camera shy. Okay, now I'm just exaggerating. But the experiences were nice. I got disappointed because I did not get my records and my interviews on camera so that I can show everybody that I went and I conquered. Oh my goodness, but it was a nice experience. So that sparked an interest in me, and I wanted to know what goes on in the mind of a serial killer, apart from the Nakuru women killings, which was just horrible. And as I was going through the University of YouTube, I came across this video of a criminologist explaining some of the behaviors, and this part got me.
Or they don't want to see you as being another human being. Usually they're psychopaths, and therefore they can't walk in your shoes. They don't care about your suffering. In fact, your suffering is actually what they're seeking to do.
So first off, a serial killer is a person who kills 2 or more people in series at different times and in separate events. They usually do so out of an abnormal psychological gratification. It may look like this. During the 10th of August, the serial killer kills their victim, then waits and strategizes to kill another of his victim a month after that, more or even less. In other words, serial killers work with a pattern, and then they have cooling off periods before their next murder. For most serial killers, a pattern may mean using the same method of killing. One prefers to strangle their victims to death, another might decide to slay them, slaughter them, another one may decide to use guns, whatever gives them the psychological thrills of the gratification.
Like many serial killers, Sam Little had an MO.
Did you ever shoot any of these girls?
Shoot?
Yeah, with a gun?
I don't get no kicks out of shooting.
All right. So everything was done by manual strangulation. Did you ever use like a belt or cloth or anything?
No garrots and all that, no.
No ligatures at all?
My hands.
Just your hands?
And without that, I wouldn't want to do it.
So some of these patterns which they use or the serial killers work with, they are mostly also influenced by the killer's origin. For example, some events that happened during their childhood years or teen formative years, you know, when they were becoming teens and getting to know themselves, stuff like that. Serial killers might prey on victims who might maybe look like, and these are the patterns, might look like the mother who abandoned them when they were kids, when the serial killer was a kid, might look like the boyfriend who dumped them. It might also be, of course, the crazy ones. The more crazy ones might be they just get a lot of satisfaction from killing. Yeah, that's the horrifying part. So how can you identify a serial killer? Well, by just looking at them? You can't. It might be your ever smiling neighbor, the damsel in distress, the rich and famous. In other words, you can't, but by their fruits you shall know them. Can I get an amen? Amen. In other words, by their behavior patterns you shall know them. Or maybe it will take you time to know them, but by their behavior pattern you can know them. You can suspect them. Okay, moving on. Let me tell you a story of Ted Bundy, otherwise Theodore Robert Bundy, a notorious American serial killer and rapist that might have gotten away with murders of several women and young girls. The guy had these 3 traits, character traits. Well, let me just name 3 because they're the ones which many people can agree on. The guy was attractive, charismatic, and articulate. Let's have a chit chat on the same. I know you have friends of your friends who say that you have the same character trait. Doesn't make you a serial killer. It just makes you you. Okay? Second story. John Wayne Gacy, an American serial killer and sex offender.
Trolled down the streets and stalked young boys and slaughtered them. Hell, if you could see my schedule, my work schedule, you know damn well that I was never out there.
Guess what he did? He raped, tortured, and murdered at least 33 young men and boys. Do you know what he was popularly known for?
Holiday theme parties. But what many remembered about him most was that he often dressed up as a clown to entertain children.
Well, now you know what inspires your horror movies producers and script writers.
Clowns can get away with anything. Clowns can get away with murder.
Now, according to the Macdonald Triad, this was a framework which was once thought capable of identifying serial killers. Serial killers often exhibit these 3 behaviors during their childhood: persistent bedwetting past the age of 5, arson, or in other words, intentionally setting fire to property, and cruelty to animals. The cruelty part reminded me of a story about a serial killer during his time as a kid. He used to kill animals in his neighborhood, all of them. I think he slaughtered them. And also that story reminded me of a witch who used to kill young, healthy boys, well, as they described it according to them, remove their skulls and their genitals so that they could they could make charms to enrich men and women, while they themselves, they lived in huts. And this is what this witch did to this dog, so that you know cruelty of animals is bad. Look.
That's movie.
Meanwhile,
There wasn't a word trying to look for the kindest person who cares and loves animals, especially puppies. It would be me, because I am such a kind person to animals. That was an insect, not an animal. Now, chit-chat time. It doesn't mean that if you exhibit or exhibited any of these behaviors, you are a serial killer. But if you exhibit all of these behaviors or exhibited all of those behaviors, there is a big might that you might be a serial killer. If you know of someone who does all those three?
Stop it. Get some help.
Seek medical assistance. Pray for them. And just help them out before they become serial killers. I am saying, I'm repeating all those three. Doesn't mean you might be one, but it just is a big might if you do all those three. Especially cruelty to animals. So many theorists have pointed to the troubled childhoods of serial killers as a possible reason for their action. Could be broken homes, abuse, neglect, etc. Now, the motives of serial killers might be in different categories. Some of the serial killers fall under all, some, and maybe one. Now, you know, these ones are the kind that want to cleanse the world of a certain people, cleanse the world of a certain kind of people. Maybe to them might be evil, but in short, cleanse, because these people, according to them, do not deserve to be in the society.
I am a sinner. I have wished ill upon my fellow man. I have thought impure thoughts.
In the series Crime and Justice, a certain vigilante evolves to a kind of serial killer. He takes the law in his own hands and wipes out those he deemed unrighteous. And according to him, he was doing noble work. At a point, he became a kind of visionary serial killer. Now, these are the type of killers, or serial killers or killers who find pleasure in killing. It's just like the news of this little girl, I don't know, this teen girl who killed their cousins, and when asked, she said that she was so happy. It made her feel happy. What? These are the serial killers who think and who say and who feel that they have been called by the devil or by God to kill. Yes, these are the kind of people who also inspire your horror movies, filmmakers and producers. They're just the weirdest, the awkwardest, and the weirdest, you know. Yeah, they are weird. All of these serial killers are weird, but alright. These ones now involve evil spirits. You know, all of them honestly have evil spirits, so moving on. Now, these ones are the ones who fantasize about having power over their victims. They want to dominate. They want to control their victims.
A 15-year-old girl in Kiambu County has confessed to the murder of her 3 siblings and a cousin.
You tell me if that fits a serial killer. As said earlier, traumatic experiences during the childhood of serial killers, such as sexual, psychological, physical abuse, neglect, among others, they lead to the making of a serial killer. Let there be carnage, venom.
They'll stop my heart, just like it stopped at my birth. What if Cletus Cassidy had never been revived? He would never have pushed Grandma down a flight of stairs.
Now, the antagonist serial killer gives a story about his childhood, which is nothing but short of good. It reveals how he killed his family members and gives reasons, or not.
I'm a bad, bad boy. He would never have been beaten to the brink of death by Daddy-O.
So due to the serial killer's childhood traumas, they learn how to suppress empathy, and detached from emotional impulses.
Oh, Eddie, we are all born into this world through blood and pain. Every hero has an origin story.
If reports serve right, Amadip would be the youngest serial killer, 8 years old, but committed his first murder at the age of 7. If you want to know much about him, Google him. I do not want to glorify any of their acts because I am that good, and since I have not spoken anything about serial killers, and since this whole video is not made for serial killers.
She's been called the damsel of death and the hooker from hell. But embellishment aside, the story of history's first female serial killer is macabre enough.
Horrifying fact. Many serial killers have been men, but there's a story about a woman.
Lee Wernos murdered them, robbed them, and then drove home in their cars.
I didn't kill them every day, did I? Did I go out there every day and say, I'm going to kill? If I did, there would be
Well, no,
hundreds.
it took you 12 months.
Yeah, and that's a hell of a lot of men I went through before the next jerk came along. And all they were was shot and left, you know?
Most serial killers premeditate about their killings. They might stalk their victims, and they might even befriend them. Probably you have seen or heard of feminists and women who are holding on banners protesting about their rights, that men are looking at them as objects of mere pleasure. To be specific, sexual pleasure. The word looking at them as mere objects. It's a school of thought that some men and women hold, that women are just that, and to some, these are crazy women protesting. What are these crazy women doing in the streets? Don't they know who they are? It's something that also sparks a lot of controversy on what women should do so that they don't become objectified. And it goes on, goes forth, goes back, and so on. But what do many mean when they say this? They are being treated as objects. Or how do serial killers treat their victims so that they cannot see them as people, but see them as objects, so that they can be able to kill them and do all those weird things they do to their victims before they kill them? It's just like you may have two phones. Like for me, an example, I have that I'm trying to ring her, but I have a phone. One I got when I finished campus, and the other one I finished campus so as to help me with creative shooting the videos, so that at least I can have two cameras and stuff. The other one is one which I got when I finished high school. And the one of which I finished high school, we have gone through a lot together. Or maybe it has gone through a lot by itself. It has fallen in the toilet. It has fallen in boiling water. And it still survives. So the phone is pretty old. It's broken. If it fell today, I'll be like, okay, I still value it, but it's not as much as I value this other new phone, because I'm like, wah! If this phone breaks, ati jamaliza hata miezi mwaka, I'll be broken. But that's the thing. You've seen of people who value even an object, just tusiende kwa subject, a mere object. Like they value their cup, their mug. You know, if anybody touches that mug, they can kill you. Theoretically speaking, but they might be very mean, just an object. So in short, they have given so much value to an object. Now let me bring it to people, where they are subjects. To those who hold the school of thought as human beings or subjects. When somebody has pissed you off and you have nowhere to go and talk about how this person has pissed you off. So you meet up with your friend, you're like, Kanana, umesikia? Aki nani, sijui nini shida naye lakini amenichamisha. Ha? Pia mimi. Yule mutembei anakuanga na roho chafu. Roho chafu imechafuka kama sijui nini. By the way, hata sijui kwa nini watu wamemweka kama rinda. If you hear someone else talk something, you continue to pump, to devalue, to say bad things. And the more you say bad things, the more you feel justified to speak more bad about him or trash about him or about her. It also may go on to an example of religion, you know, because you believe that you know so much and that your kind is the righteous, it's the know-it-all. So you find it easy to demean, to devalue someone else based on their religion. It's actually things that we do. You might be privileged or you might want to feel better than somebody else, so you devalue them. You look at all their mistakes, how they don't even walk right, how they don't even speak well, how they do not even talk well, how they are rude. That one time they were rude, you want to play it over and over again so that you can devalue them or belittle and demean them to the value that you're now justified to say or do things as you want. Just like the mission-oriented killers think that they have a reason to kill a certain kind of people because to them they have sat down and they're like, these people are just pathetic. They should be out of this world. They should be shown their place. So what's the final word? Objectification, the way you want to see it, devaluing people. Probably I've devalued someone. It might not be to a point of becoming a serial killer or doing something pretty bad, but it's some things that have a little bit of traits. Could be that we devalue people so that we can make them feel helpless. We devalue people so that we can feel like we're better than them, so that we can be able to talk trash about them, so that we can be able to justify our actions. We can crush their esteems. Isn't it good that you devalue a person and you reduce them to mere nothingness so that you can feel that you're still in power, that you still dominate? You devalue people so that we can kill them. Could be through hate or could be through actual murder. What am I saying to that? You should really get help if you're so used to demeaning people, devaluing people, objectifying people.
Stop it. Get some help.
If you have undergone stuff in your childhood which are really making you have weird traits, and the traits start with devaluing, because there's no serial killer who becomes there's no serial killer, no matter how much they might like to justify that they are. It's just like vigilantes. At one time you start out as a vigilante killing the bad people, and then you end up killing even the good people, whatever that means to you, good and bad. Honestly, you just end up being a murderer. You can't justify an act of killing with another killing and say that you're righteous, just like you can't justify a lie with another lie and say that you speak the truth. What am I just saying? According to human nature, it feels good. Feels like it does not feel good, honestly. It just feels very selfish to devalue, because one day you'll devalue someone, feel justified about it, then next you might devalue someone who did not need whatever, without justifications or with justifications that did not need to be devalued in such a manner. In short, let us try to not devalue people, to not objectify them, or else we might come here to report about your news of how you became a serial killer, or less or more, how you became something weird. It's something that we do as human beings, honestly. It's us to little traits. You don't have to be a serial killer, but it has to littleness, devaluing, and it's mostly just to feel like you are above someone else and they are lower than you, and yes, they should not have a voice. But deep down inside, you are just in need of so much help. You are in need of so much help. You need a lot of self-talks and confidence and God, the true God, not the God who's telling you to kill others because they should not be in this world. So I hope you've gotten something about serial killers and stuff, objectification, and the little ways we might be. I hope you've picked up something. I hope you are not a serial killer, and I hope that if you have seen some of these traits, all of these traits, please don't go looking at your neighbor like, but do mse anakuanga na hizi traits, mse anaweza kuwa. No, this video was not meant to do that. As usual, the serial killers might look like might be very prominent, might look like they have everything together, okay? But there will always be something, and with time, the truth always prevails. So, but if you know of a child who goes through this stuff, please help, or else we'll be talking about other weird things. But this was not to justify serial killers. It was not at all. It was just a video like one of those. So please do, this is the scary one, so please do consider subscribing, liking. We pray for more consistency in this channel, and like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and till next time, goodbye, see you next time, and please do not be a serial killer. Don't objectify people. Goodbye. Peace.